Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Seerat and student of BS Biochemistry. So today the topic of my presentation is colored pigment produced in microbial species. So as we go with the content in which we will discuss about the introduction, what is the definition, why we use microbial pigments, what are the drawbacks of the plant pigments, and what is pigments, and what is classification and its types. Further, we go with the introductions, and introduction it explains about that what are the natural colors, how natural colors are used, and how the increase of natural color is there, and it also have been some harmful effect as well. There are many types of bacterial fungal pigments also present, and these are the alternative source for giving organism a color. There are also very advantages, big advantages of using this color. It can increase the rapid growth, easy processing, and independence of weather conditions. We don't have to concern about the weather. What is the weather? The food is produced. Like for many, for example, like now in the as we know that there is not even the whether but the fruits are produced, which is due to what this is due to the pigmentation, which is due to the food colors of the bacteria and fungal produce. Apart from that, it also tells about the bacteria pigment produce has some biological properties, some properties which make them differ, which are antioxidant, antimicrobial, and anti-cancer activities. This give a different types of outline to the pigments. Next, we go with the definition. What are microbial pigments? How can we define? The natural pigment which are extracted from microorganisms are termed as microbial pigments. And like the kind and now we're going to discuss about what are microorganisms, how they produce these colors. Like algae fungi produce different types of pigments which are we use for color of different species which is produced and give them a color. The pigments are biological microbial sources in use and desirable properties. The properties like of heat, temperature, and pH. Microbial pigments, they are anti-cancer properties and source of pro-vitamin A. And it also tells about like microbial production has various benefits in production, like it doesn't affect the weather, and it is very easy and fast in progress and use. You can use it with different colors. Next, let's discuss about why we use microbial pigments because they're efficient and cost effective. They're more easily available, feasible. The like weather does not affect its constants. They do not compete for the limited farming land with actual foods, which are available. Its availability is very easy. It can produce with high yield. It has rapid growth in low, medium, easy processing, and the wide range of temperature is there. pH and pH stability of microbes are there for the suitability of industry. Next point is about what are the drawbacks of the base pigment. Its stability is and its solubility and what are and the availability of the plants throughout the year, and the large scale of plant may lead to its biodiversity. It can be its drawbacks or species richness if it is costly there. What are pigments? Pigments, how we define the pigments? Pigments are the intense color which we use for coloring of the materials. These are also called as biological pigments or biochromes, which mainly refers to the true pigments. Now it tells about it materials that change the color reflected transmitted light is also known as color, pigments, which are wavelength and selective absorption. They have high timing strength. They're appear to be very certain into wavelength. And non-permanent pigments are called as fugitive pigment. Non-permanent means they're just present for some time only. It says limited time only. They're not present for the whole time. It may disappear also. Next, it's about how we can classify the pigments. Pigments are classified into two. Like it can be organic pigments or it can be inorganic. Organic pigments are those which are made from the natural sources, and inorganic pigments are those which are insoluble. You can find in our environment. Can be selected to observe them, like for light absorption, which are only just for the sake, for the sake of light only. They can be classified only on the basis of their color, origin, method, production character, and the pigment color. Next, so the type of pigment, primary and accessory pigments. Primary pigments are chlorophyll A, accessory pigments chlorophyll B, C, D, like carotenoids, cyclobilin, cyclokeratin, phycoquinone. These are all the photosynthetic bacteria that contains chromophores with beta carotene, xanthophyll, carotenoids, and cyclobilins. And most of these carotenoids are present in photosystem 1, and cyclobilins are present in photosystem 2. Next is what are chlorophyll. Chlorophyll are the magnesium pyrophene derivative is the primary pigment which is present in the direction of photosystem. It reflects the light as a maximum in red and blue light which is present, and it reflects a green light. The molecules consist of hydrophobic pyrrole head and hydrophilic this is pyrrole tail with a central Mg atoms there. Bacteriophores are green, purple, violet. It tells about its color. It's present in the photosystem pigment in the photosynthesis apparatus. This can be measured by the absorption spectrum. and it tells about the several types of molecules also present in bacteriophills. There are also different types of mainly the presence of or absence of the double bond between the atoms of 3 and 4 substituents of the pyrophene ring. And some types also tells about the position of VCl molecule in the pigments where it is present. And it is, for example, it is a purple bacteria. It has 4 types of spectral forming, like BCl, BCHL 800, BCHL 820, BCHL 850, and BCHL from 870 to ranging 890. Next, further we go, what are carotenoids? These are the accessory pigments. These are just present for temporary pigments which can be used in phototropes. They are of yellow, green, red, brown, and the groups are right in blue range. These are insoluble in water and embedded in membrane. The presence of oxoaldehyde group also, and the low hydrocarbons, C40 carbons are present. It can structure can be tetrahedral also or Microbes also. Carotenoids have light energy and they transfer chlorophyll for bacteriophile and utilize in the photosynthesis. Next, we go fungal pigments are the pigments which produce in extraordinary such as carotenoids, melanins, flavins, quinins, monocins, violets, and anticom. It tells about the monocysts, which produce yellow, yellow, orange, and the different purple kinds of pigments which are used in oriental food. Monocyst pigments are antimicrobial, anti-cancer. Its properties antimicrobial and antioxidant. Its range is about 200 fungal species contain this pigment, and it tells about what is the production is found in zygomycetes for the microbes, and which includes Balascus and Napier. And it also tells about carotene production has been also reported in Basidiomyces genera such as Rosso, Spodium, Celluta, Spordicium, and Ostracilla. Next, it's about bacterial pigments are characterized by its colonies in surface areas like red, orange, and yellow. The pigments which are they are insoluble in carotenoids, for example, Micrococcus, Cyanobacteria, Mycobacteria, and Nocharidia. Let's talk about the algal pigments. It tells about algal pigments which possess undifferentiated roots and stems and leaves. It ranges from single cell to a large cell chlorophyll containing autotrophic members. The members of blue-green algae possess prokaryotic nature cells while remaining are eukaryotic nature. Next is chlorophyll A, which is green pigment is present in cyanobacteria and algae and prawns. That observe the highlights are very strong. They have different types of chlorophyll also present in it. It was introduced by Robert Burns, Woodward, and Anne Fleming and Winsor Hans chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. Now, chlorophyll A is most widely used in universal type of chlorophyll. It is a greenish pigment. It is having Mg atom in center. It is a heterocyclic. It has 4 major nitrogen atoms surrounded by it, and it is a stable ring structure. Chlorophyll B is present in green algae. It observed the most effective light at 472, but also 430 molecular formula. A necessary photosynthetic pigment is a chlorine ring in center and Mg. Chlorine ring is heterocyclic and 4 nitrogen are present around it. Xanthophyll are the yellow pigments, and these are major groups of carotenoids. This is generally formed in generally 3 of C40 terpenoid pigments, and the condensation isoprene units xanthophyll have oxygen, and xanthophyll contain oxygen. There are hydroxyl groups or pairs of hydroxyl atoms that are substituted by oxygen and acting as bases. Here are some pictures of the bacterial pigments and some of the fungal pigments. Here we go with some references, and I hope you understand, and thank you so much.